Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 103. My name is Craig Prowse, and joining me again is my brother, Gino Prowse. And thanks once again for being here, filling in some shoes.
Going for the three-peat, man. It's a pleasure to be aboard.
The three-peat is always fun, and again, Andrew will be back with us soon if that is a face that you are missing, but all in good time. So, guys, before we move any further, real quick, just hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube and jump down below. Leave us a comment. If you guys want to, you can follow us on all the social medias that our Linktree link offers. That could be our Facebook and our Twitter and our Instagram, all that good stuff. And if you guys are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, check out Anchor. That is the new host of our podcast. That can still take you guys to all the other platforms like iTunes and Spotify. And you can also support the show if you guys want to for as little as 99 cents. And you can also leave a message on there, which I kind of want people to start leaving some questions on there, and then we can post them live on the show or have them go during the show and then answer them that way. But if you guys are watching at home, we like to drink beer on this show, so pause, grab one yourself. But this week's beer,
Little frosty.
Yeah, Gino grabbed this one, and I've never heard of this. This is Upslope. So I pulled up Beer Advocate. I've never used this site before, but it actually kind of rates these beers, and it is the craft lager. It is from the Upslope Brewing Company in Lee Hill. It's a lager American, and it sits at a 4.8% alcohol. They gave it an 83, so it says that is a good score. I mean, I've never heard of it. How did it stand out to you? Yeah, right.
Very good. A lot of people like tasty beers, and I like light lagers, and I think this one kind of hits home pretty good.
It's almost kind of hard to see the can. Like, when you brought it, I was kind of looking and I'm like, wait, what is this? And when I was looking up different versions of it, I guess they come in like a bunch of different flavors. There's like different IPAs and stuff like that. So I don't know. I really like it. It's tasty. Some of the reviews I was looking at were like, there's no bitter like aftertaste. And I got to say, I don't really taste anything going afterwards. Yeah, it's not bitter.
Yeah, it is a local, a Colorado beer. So I wonder how many different versions there are of it.
Oh yeah, hopefully a lot. So real quick before we move on, I will just give a quick toast. We hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. So this one is for you. So before we move into our first big story, we like to do a little segment called "What Are You Up To?" where we take a second to talk about what we've been playing, what we've been watching, if we've been up to anything that's kind of cool. So Gino, what are you up to?
Yeah, not a whole bunch from last week. This week we had a ton of gaming news, 3 days in a row. So a lot of my time when I get off work is kind of checking this out, checking in with Craig. So just staying on top of that took up a lot of my time. Still playing Halo as much as I can and some Arena while it's still doable. But another cool thing is I started watching the movie Trivia Schmodown again, which is a gaming competition show that we used to watch back in the day and go see live events. Ton of new stuff going on in their channel, so jumping back in, keeping my movie knowledge sharp has been kind of fun to do. We've been in YouTube parties watching it together.
Yeah, that's been a lot of
staying
fun.
Sharp.
Nice. Anything else, or is that taking up most of your time?
That's it for me, my man.
Nice. So what I've been up to watching wise is there was a show back on I think it was like the DCU app. It was Titans. It was an original show that they started, and the app was kind of cool. It used to be able to watch like original IP that they had, and then they were going to show a bunch of old DC stuff, and it actually kind of tanked, and now it's all on HBO Max. But Titans was a show that was kind of a dark, grittier take on the Teen Titans kind of origin stories, and season 1 and 2 were okay. But if you've heard of it or you want to jump back into it, season 3 is dope. It is so dark, and it follows like Dick Grayson and the Red Hood saga. So if you guys are familiar with that, with like the death of Jason Todd, have you started it at all?
I've watched season 1 and 2, and then Casey asked me about it the other day. He's like, "Oh, have you started watching this?"
Dude,
like, I'm in it, yeah, but I know Craig's back into it. He's like, "Dude, I'm loving it." I'm like, I have to jump back.
Yeah, it's dark, man.
I have seen 1 and 2.
Okay, good. Yeah, every episode, dude, someone's dying, and it kind of. Because the first couple seasons are about like the Titans, where this one's kind of focusing on Gotham, and you get to see Barbara Gordon and all that stuff. So that's really good. I suggest you guys check it out. Again, that's on HBO Max. As far as playing, still playing Hades, that's an addictive game. But the game that I just started fresh was Psychonauts 2. That's a game that's developed by Double Fine and published by Xbox Game Studios. Now, the original Psychonauts 1 came back out in 2011, and Psychonauts 2 was announced at the Game Awards in 2015, and number 2 just came out 2021. So this game has been in development for like 10 years, and it's got some interesting history behind it. But the concept of the game kind of like messes with these like themes of like mental health issues. Like there's a big thing in the beginning that says it touches on this and kind of explores, you know, mental health and stuff. And it says like if it bothers you or triggers you, there's like some sites that you can check out. But the game is this kid Rasputin, and it does a good job of kind of catching you up of everything you've missed. And he gets all these cool powers, and you do all these missions, and you get these badges and pins. And looking it up online, man, it's gotten like great reviews. I think it's on an 88 for Metacritic on Xbox. But the voice, the guy that does it, is this guy named Richard Horvitz, and he's kind of like how we talked about Joker a while back with Mark Hamill. He's the voice of like Daggett and Invader Zim and Billy and Mandy.
Daggett from Angry
Beavers.
Oh.
So I hear that voice in this thing again, even though it's kind of like the kid version of it. Like I can hear that Daggett voice
that tone,
in it.
that underlying tone.
Yeah, so I suggest you guys check it out. It's doing really well. I'm only about maybe like an hour or two in it, so there's not really much for me to review on it at all. But that is the game that I just picked up and started playing, and hopefully I'm done with it. I looked it up. It's roughly like 11 to 15 hours if you're playing it.
Quick little jammer.
You gonna pick it up?
I gotta play something soon. I don't want to pick up too much because I'm just having fun with the Halo and my arena right now, man. I'm all in right now, so it's kind of hard to pull myself away from it.
Nice. So jump down below, guys. Let us know what you're playing, what you guys are watching, and what you have been up to. So moving into our main story, Gamescom 2021 has come, and now it is officially over as of today. It ran from August 25th to the 27th. It did have a standalone like Xbox show that was on the 24th, but it wasn't that huge, and it had some questions on it. It kind of really just showed off Psychonauts 2 and the gunk. Nothing too big, but the opening night live was hosted by Jeff Keighley. It was huge. The whole concept was they were going to start showing, you know, exclusives and world premieres, and this thing showed off day one more than 30 games, and just like kind of the rest of the days that followed, it showed off a lot of trailers, a lot of gameplay demos, and a lot of interviews with developers. So it's a lot of content. So if you guys want to go check it out, all you gotta do is type in Gamescom 2021, look at all the different days. It's way too much for us to dive into. So what we're gonna talk about today is pretty much our interpretation on how we liked the show overall, and we've picked 3 main highlights that stood out to us as good things that were happening within the show. So with that being said, this was a digital presentation this year. Generally this happens in Cologne, Germany, but obviously due to the pandemic, they did a digital showcase, and IGN was pretty much hosting this thing all week. But again, it was packed full of games. It showed off a lot of AAA titles, as well as it did like a whole, you know, section dedicated to indie games, which was really, really cool. When you watch it on IGN, it kind of ran like a one long TV show. Like it had ads and it had breaks, and some people that was kind of like a complaint. But I don't know, when me and you were watching it, I had a pretty good time sitting there and just vibing off of it.
We had a blast watching it, and it kind of just brought us back to the old days of watching G4 together, you know, sitting down, getting good quality game content. I like the breaks. I was able to bring my son over. He's playing, you know, a break happens, we're able to go, you know, do what we have to do. So I thought the pacing was fine. I thought they had a ton of premieres and exclusives. They had... it was digital, but they did have like a little live performance with when that girl was doing the violin with Tails. So I mean, I thought it was an excellent format on how they did it. It could have went real wrong, and I think they did it in a spectacular way.
Yeah, these things were huge. I mean, I guess I didn't know, you know, what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize it was going to be like hours long of content and tons of after shows. So overall, I think it was a good show. It would be hard pressed to say if anybody watched this that you didn't find one game in this whole lineup that wasn't for you or that you vibed with, because I mean it was just tons.
Yeah, it was fun to watch the indie section too, because there's so many games out there. It's just so nice to see that creativity juices are still bubbling, because some of these games were just off the wall, and these indie ones, some of them looked like AAA games. I mean, they were really well done. So that was probably my favorite part of watching the show.
I would say one of my biggest problems, even though there's going to be a game we talk about that does the same thing, is I just wish more of these games had gameplay. And there were so many times where you would just see like a cinematic trailer, and I'm just like, well, show me the game. There were sometimes we didn't even know what the game was about. So it wasn't all great, but I would say overall this thing was impressive, and I think they did a good job. And Jeff Keighley nailed it again, man. If you were looking for content and game news or games to talk about, this thing like exploded, and there's every day there was something to watch. So the show itself was extremely impressive, and probably the best thing I would say we've probably seen all year.
Yeah, I mean, when you're waiting for good news to drop, I mean, this just hammered you with it too. And I don't think there was a couple things where they did, like I said, go long on Forza and stuff like that, but those are the big games that people wanted to hear. I think the pacing was fine, though. I mean, there was a point where it was just game exclusive. So I think it did a fine job with that.
Yeah, it was almost overloading. Mm-hmm. So let us know what you guys thought of the overall show, because, again, it is 3 days of massive watching. But like I said, we're going to pick out kind of 3 of the big highlights that at least we took away from the show and go over. And the first highlight would have to be Halo Infinite made itself known. Now, this was kind of a controversy on the first day, that opening, not the opening night live, but when Xbox did its standalone, there was no mention of Halo, and there was a lot of people kind of scratching their head saying, we still don't have a release date. There's still, why would they not show that off in Microsoft? But, as it turns out, the next day they were showing all that stuff off, and the official release date is December 8th, which is, right towards the end of the year. They stuck to the holiday. But what they ended up showing was there was going to be an Elite Series 2 controller that's kind of based after Master Chief's armor that's going to be running for $200 that you can pre-order. But the thing that kind of blew a lot of people away was the limited edition 20-year anniversary Series X Halo bundle that had the kind of the space theme. Now that was launching for $550. Unfortunately, from what I was reading, all the pre-orders for that are out. But they did say they will restock it between now and November 25th, because if you pre-order it, that's when you should be getting either one of those, either the standalone controller or the Series X bundle. But both beautiful. Like, I want one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was one of those people where I fully expected the release date to be announced, but when Microsoft didn't do it, I was kind of like, oh, I hope they do it. So
yeah, we're getting close.
It's nice to see it on paper finally as 12/8. I was super hoping we would do pre-Thanksgiving just for my selfish needs, but it's nice that it's in the works. But man, when that controller, they started doing it, they matched it to the classic music. They painted it with the classic green and gold. That thing looked gorgeous. I'm not surprised that these pre-orders are gone in seconds. Now, the only thing is, with somebody who was lucky enough to get an Xbox when it first came out, as much as I want the Halo Xbox, I don't know if I'm going to buy another one. I might wait until they do a 1.5 or something. But the controller, I will easily pay $200 and get another controller. I just bought myself an Elite 2. They are amazing. And if anybody's thinking about getting one, now would be the time to get it, because that thing is gorgeous.
Dude, it's crazy that a controller can run as much as $200 when the Series S is $300.
It is worth it, man. To sound snobby, I won't play with another controller after this, and I will spend. You always want to have 2 controllers, I think, in your arsenal. I think I'm going to try and make that my second controller.
Yeah, that thing was bitching, and I think a lot of people just wanted to hear the release date of Halo, and that is the opening night that we got the official release date for Halo Infinite. So that easily kind of stole the show, or at least was our main highlight between the two of us. But the second highlight that we wanted to talk about was the Call of Duty Vanguard. Showed off 9 minutes of gameplay, which I believe they were calling the Stalingrad demo. This thing got a lot of good reception. So Andrew, who's not with us today, actually wrote us a little something. So this is what he ended up writing to us.
It goes a little something
like this. He goes, so what did you guys think of the new 9 minutes of Vanguard? I'm not sold multiplayer-wise, but the story graphically looks good, and the air raid scene was badass. Hate to say it, but I'm looking forward to this story after the disappointing Cold War. Yeah, man, that 9 minutes was bitchin'. What were your initial thoughts on that thing?
I thought it, Call of Duty to me, it always looks good. This looked like a next-gen game. I mean, it ran flawlessly, super smooth. Like when I don't want to give spoilers. When the building's falling over and she's doing stuff.
It's not a spoiler I don't know if I spit it on camera, but it's not a spoiler if people can go watch it on a trailer.
Yeah, no, I thought it looked extremely well. I thought the character that they were doing, because they showed off Lieutenant Polina Petrova, and she's actually modeled after a real life Russian Soviet soldier named Lady Death. And I think to have a sniper like that, and based in they're doing real missions in the actual World War II series, so it's going to be super fun, super exciting to play.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because they were showing off that, you know, there's going to be the 4 different characters that you can play from different points of this war. And yeah, that 9 minutes, man, I think really kind of turned some heads because a lot of people were seeing, you know, the basic layout of Vanguard and they're like, okay, well, what's this going to be about? And I think that showed a lot of the heart of what this game's going to be. It is going to be these origin stories of these characters who had nothing to do, or at least her particular version, of, you know, of how she got involved into this deep combat. Because even when you're watching it, and they're showing off some of the gameplay, like when she was climbing up the bricks and escaping.
We both kind of turned to each other and were like, oh, well, that's new. It's kind of nice to see that new mechanic getting added to the game.
Yeah, so I'm super excited that they're kind of taking origin stories. At least that's the way I kind of interpret it. It was like, how did they get involved into this war? And now, because all that's going to do is, I mean, just make you more invested. You're going to see this person that had to go through this, and now you're playing them doing that.
Yeah, it showed her starting as a nurse and like her story evolving into, you know, being this badass sniper. So, but graphically, it looked amazing. I don't think the campaign's going to have any flaws in it if it looks that good all the way around.
Yeah, as far as I can tell in most reviews, everyone's saying that looked good, and it is definitely going to be one of the main reasons why they want to get this thing is how well they were able to pull off that 9 minutes. So yeah, I think Andrew's right. And yeah, that air raid scene was badass, and this is kind of a, you know, kind of a cooler looking version of what World War II could possibly be. So is there anything else you want to add on that?
I just, if you watched it, when she's walking through it and you see all these clouds and those planes start breaking through.
Dude, we're both like, oh!
Like, I don't know. They did an amazing job with it. Somebody who's already looking forward to the game, I'm even more looking forward to the game now. They did a really good job.
Definitely. So let us know what you guys thought of the Call of Duty Vanguard, 9-minute trailer that they had there. And our third main highlight is going to be Marvel's Midnight Suns, which is developed by Firaxis, which is the team that brought you the XCOM series. And one of the cool things I liked about this trailer was the cover that they had of Enter Sandman by Alicia Cara and The Warning. It was a bitchin' version of this song, and it kind of set the whole tempo for what we were able to watch. And the cool thing about this is it's going to be a turn-based tactic RPG that explores the darker side of the Marvel Comics lore with an antagonist known as Lilith, the Demon Queen. And in this particular story, you know, the Firaxis team teamed up with Marvel and made a new character called the Hunter. And Lilith is going to be your mom, and she's kind of what brings this team together. And the cool part is you get to see characters you don't normally see kind of take spotlight, which is like Blade and Ghost Rider and the Runaways, which is a team I know a lot of people are very unfamiliar with. So I like that they're kind of taking this darker exploration instead of kind of the normal Marvel Avengers, the city's gonna blow up, let's save the world. I mean, what did you think when you saw it?
There was a lot of good here. I wish this would have been one of the games that we saw some gameplay footage on, because I would like to see how that tactical RPG that they're doing is working. But if you're looking at the cinematic in general, I mean, it looked awesome. And it showed Doctor Strange. It showed the good guys with the bad guys doing their magic, having to wake this chick up. The characters look awesome. They had like some type of enchanted armor on. I mean, it just looked really solid, and it's kind of cool to see that a studio like XCOM can do something like this, because in their statement, they're saying it's a complete departure from the game. So to have a studio get approached by Marvel who focused on a game, but then have it be a complete departure, it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. And when we were doing a little bit of research, it shows that there is going to be 13 playable characters at this moment. I'm hoping some DLC, like some Morbius or something, might drop, but I'm a huge fan of Ultimate Alliance 2, and I love Marvel games that have a good storyline like those do, so it's going to be even funner to have that kind of RPG system, the leveling up, but using it in turn-based. Like, I'm dying to see what that looks like. They even said there's going to be over 40 powers, there's going to be skill building, and how you interact with your team actually is going to affect the game itself. They said there's a part in the game where you're interacting and it's going to be light and kind of comical, because they express that the rest of the game is going to be extremely dark. So it's hitting it on all points. I thought the trailer was good. That song peppered in was amazing. Awesome. Having a dark, committed storyline, I think, is going to do wonders for it. The only thing I was curious on is they did say that the Hunter was customizable and you could change the appearance. I'm just curious if that means it can get played, or she can be played as a girl or a guy, because I was trying to find it and all they said is that she's customizable. So kind of interesting. Not that it's a big deal, but I wonder how much they dip into that.
Right, yeah, how much actual customization of the character you're going to be able to do. It was cool because on a couple different days they replayed this game. You know, it took more than just a day. They were showing it off. And if you guys want to go back and watch, they do a full interview with one of the creators of it, and they kind of step-by-step break down what it is. But if you guys are interested in it like we are, they are going to be showing gameplay on September 1st. So that'll be our first look of how the game's actually going to be played. And it's supposed to be coming out in March of 2022. So that definitely has our interest. So those are the three main things we wanted to talk about, guys, but there is a lot of stuff. So like Elden Ring had a big showcase. I know like if Andrew was here, that's probably be one of the things he wanted to talk about because he's such a big Dark Souls fan. Saints Row is doing a whole reboot that they showed in a whole trailer and deep dived on it. That looks super cool. Forza had a lot going on, and then not to mention just the reign of indies that they had. So again, guys, it is a lot to watch, and this is just our highlights. So leave down in the comments below what your highlights were so that we can talk about it and you know, have a good nice little conversation about it.
I love a good conversation.
So with that down and out of the way, guys, let's move into riffing it up. So Gene, what's on your mind with a little riff, my man?
So this is something that has been talked about a little bit before, so it's not a huge surprise, but it's really nice to see a first step kind of get taken. And that is that Netflix finally began their gaming stream service on August 26th. Let me go to an article here from IGN. As noted in a recent Twitter thread, Netflix announced 2 games available right now in its gaming library, Stranger Things the game and Stranger Things 3 the game. Both games are playable only on Android devices, but are seemingly installed and played within the Netflix app. Users can expect no ads or in-app purchases when trying out the feature, and Netflix reaffirmed that it will not charge an additional fee to access games in its service. Netflix also notes that the feature is in its very, very early days, with more work to be done to refine its gaming service in the coming months. So one cool thing there is it's no additional fee. The games they're using are their Netflix originals, which is kind of cool to see them be able to try that with. The only odd thing was you can only do it if you're in Poland. So I don't know if it's where a headquarters is or where some, you know, I don't know how they picked Poland, but it's nice to see a juggernaut like Netflix finally dipping its toe in because I honestly think that the direction of the industry with the Game Pass is clearly going there. We had stuff like Stadia try and fail. It would be really nice to see Netflix pick this up and do it right and to add it to a subscription that the majority of people already have. And if it's no added feature and there's no ads, that's a win-win. And they are known for doing very good original content. And if we can have them start doing games like that, competition's good for the industry. And I think something like that can thrive.
Yeah, and Netflix is one of these, you know, places that have the best infrastructure when it comes to streaming. So if they're going to start moving into that, they've already got that kind of out of their way in terms of how they're just going to fucking, you know, move over and start playing that. Poland is weird, but I feel like I've seen something else in the past where like Poland is what started like a demo or a beta test of it. But I mean, it's so weird because we had a question X amount of episodes ago asking, would Netflix ever get into gaming? And at the time we said no, but I mean, the fact that it's already here, and from everything I've been reading, like it's going smoothly. I don't think they've ran into any big like hiccups in terms of like the game downloading or the playing, and the ads not being a part of it is beautiful. So
yeah, and it always seems like Droid gets stuff first versus iPhone. So hey, just another crack at you guys.
Nice. So my riff, guys, is that Call of Duty Vanguard, the Champion Hill Alpha, is currently out for the PS4 and the PS5. That is running from the 27th through the 29th. Now, let me just read a quick article from you guys. This is by the Washington Post that kind of explains what it's all about. So, the new mode, Champion Hill, adds some complexity to a format that feels rooted in the 2v2 gunfight tournament mode introduced with 2019's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Billed by developer Sledgehammer Games as a mix between gunfight and battle royale modes, players compete as either solos, duos, or trios against 7 other teams in a round-robin style tournament. Only duos were available on Friday. That's when I played it too as well. Teams start with tournament with 12 lives. Each time a player dies, that total decreases. Run out of lives and the team is eliminated from the tournament. The competition continues until there is just one team still standing. Each 1 minute long round pits two teams against each other, and the team that records the most kills wins the round and earns an in-game cash bonus. However, the overarching strategy hinges on preserving your own lives more than taking the other teams, which can create a few oddities that diminish the fun and fairness a little bit. And again, that's their interpretation from the post. But I downloaded it on my PS5. Gino and I both got a chance to play it. I think the mode is a cool concept. I like the idea that it kind of pits you with a second player, because again, it only did duos. We didn't get a chance to play anything else. And you have X amount of money to start, and you run and either buy yourself a new gun, equipment, or what support stats. And then when you start going into this thing, you start accumulating kills and keeping your lives. And then I think it's every 4 rounds it puts you back out into the thing where you can buy new guns, new upgrades such as armor, an extra life or something. So I think the concept is cool, and it is kind of fast paced, which is more of what I like. However, there's a lot of downside to this, a lot of negativity that I was reading on Twitter, that a lot of people are saying that it's nothing but camping to keep lives, which obviously a lot of people hate. People are saying that the audio is terrible, and the biggest thing that I keep noticing is that you can't hear footsteps. So it's one of the reasons I wish almost Andrew was here, because as our Call of Duty guy, is he could probably talk to it a little bit more. But I did notice that. Because you can still hear gunshots a ways, and again, this is the alpha, so things will change, I'm sure. But as of right now, you could hear a gunfire ways away, but you don't hear a footstep till it's behind you. And at that time, it's kind of tough to respond to that. And the other big thing is they're saying is all the walls and cover is just paper thin. The whole thing is you can shoot through anything and hit the person. And the other thing I saw, which I didn't notice in mine, was that you can start seeing people's icons, like an enemy icon, through buildings. I guess some people were running into that as well.
Yeah, I did see that when I was playing. I've only played a handful of times, but there was an incident where I was aiming, and I didn't see the person, but I did see a little icon pop up. And I was like, oh, maybe he flashed by, but that would make sense. But playing it just a handful of times I actually had a lot of fun with it. It's nice to play a new mode. It is alpha. There's going to be bugs, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to test it, play it, give them feedback. I mean, I'm not going to hate on it. I thought it was actually a lot of fun. I have it downloaded on my PS4. I'll probably play that a little bit more tonight, but it was nice to jump into something fresh, and I think if they can tweak all the stuff because these are minor things that they can absolutely fix, I think it'll be it's definitely doable.
Yeah, I thought it was I thought the game mode was cool, but I don't dive into these modes as much as other Call of Duty hardcore players do. So maybe to them they're like, this is a joke. Why are you making something new when you should be enhancing something that's old? But I don't know, for my money I thought it was pretty cool. And but I did notice that sound part. I did notice the steps. So if you guys have a chance to play Call of Duty the alpha, jump in the comments and let us know what you thought. Again, that will run till the 29th, so you should have a few days to play it. But that is the end of our riffs. So we're going to move into questions of the week, and that is the part where you guys can send us questions about anything, whether it be comics, movies, video games, whatever. So the first question comes from Daisy Bailu, I believe is the name, and it says, hey, if the twins are on the next episode, which we are, what are some 2-player games you guys played as kids that you really enjoyed or that stand out as memorable? I had under mine, because we were kind of discussing it, is Golden Axe 2. I mean, outside of Mario and Sonic games that everybody played with a second player, Golden Axe 2 was a game I remember we played a lot of on Sega.
Yeah.
And Lost Vikings was a game that I remember we played a lot of. But I don't know if Lost Vikings is as big as I remember it being to people, but I think Golden Axe is a name that most people are familiar with.
Yeah, and I love Golden Axe, man.
Dude.
And it was one of those ones where I think when we played
1, 2,
it
and 3
on normal or easy, at the very end it would say, okay, now you have to go back and play it the real way to beat Death Adder. And we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like the full ending.
So that was always kind of fun. Mine was, and there was a few different versions of them, but I remember Ren and Stimpy very clearly, and I remember going through a zoo level and stuff like that. And,
I remember that.
They had a weird freezer level and stuff, but we were able to fortunately watch Ren and Stimpy at that age. So playing it was, I remember, super memorable. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors was probably one that I think a couple summers we actually played that game. Never beat it.
Yeah, because as young as we were, man, we didn't have the strategy
very hard.
now.
But that's a game that we absolutely loved. Even if we lost, because you could get codes we get the codes, we try and beat the level, but then, you never did. But super, super fun. Love playing those 2 games.
Yeah, and the cool thing about Zombies Ate My Neighbors is you can buy the remake of it now. It's 1 and 2, I believe, on the as a combined package. So, excellent question, and leave your 2-player games down below. And the last question, guys, comes from Madeline Moxie. And again, the reason I put this one on there is because it was a twin-based question, and we're both here today. So, question for you guys, kind of unrelated to gaming, but I'm curious. Did you like growing up as twins, and do people ever confuse which twin you are? So, I wanted time to kind of mention this. They were asking, like, how come Gino looks so much darker than you guys? And so I just want to say,
who's asking?
There was a couple comments. Gino's been hitting the river like every goddamn day. So if you at first glance, I do look a lot more whiter and paler than this bronze-skinned gentleman here. But yes, we are identical twins, and I thought the cool thing is kind of alludes to the previous question is. You always had a player too. You always had somebody to play a game with, to play toys with, to being the same age. We had the same group of friends, so there wasn't a big differ in having an older brother by 2 years or a younger brother by 2 years. I thought that was kind of one of the biggest benefits, and I would say people confuse us a lot when we were younger, and some do now if we're not obviously next to each other, or it's. You've only met us here and there through work or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little harder now. I wear glasses a lot, but with COVID, I've been wearing my contacts. But if you don't know us and we're wearing a hat backwards and I got my contacts in, it's really hard to confuse us.
Especially now with our arms getting more tatted.
Yeah. The other thing too is though, I've never found a negative with being a twin. Like we got along really well. Our personalities are really in sync.
Would you say they're identical?
But we went to high school with I think 6 or 7 sets of twins, and some of them didn't get along, and I always found that kind of interesting. So for us, we always had the better experience of it. We had our fights and stuff like that, but we're of a mind where it's the next day it's already forgiven, forgotten. So, but I know other twins that don't do that, and they don't really talk and stuff like that. So extremely lucky. We live really close. We unfortunately get to see each other a lot. So I don't know. There's no negative in my mind that we've ever come across.
I know. The only thing that was missing is I wish we were triplets.
Oh yeah. Now we have Grayson.
Yeah, I wish there was a third.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for your question. And again, guys, if you want to leave a question, just leave it down in the comments below, and we will answer them for you. So guys, that is the end of episode 103. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. And again, thank you guys for letting us hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, check out our audio podcast and let those comments grow and those reviews. So,
I want to say something to that, to the 4,000. Yeah. I pop into the show every once in a while, but to do it 3 times in a row,
appreciation.
It's a huge appreciation to actually what he does and how much knowledge and effort he puts into this. Because as a fan of the show, I don't do this all the time. I like watching it and getting my news, but he's sending me articles. I got to be on top of it. I mean, so to do it 3 weeks in a row, like, it's very eye-opening, and a huge respect to you and Mandrew to do this every week and to hit 4,000 subscribers. I think is amazing, and I think 5,000 is going to be right around the corner.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, because normally I send all my stuff up, me and Andrew back and forth each other all week. I've been blowing up Gino's phone with articles like, check this out, check this out, check this out. So.
Yeah, it's awesome to do, but it's just eye-opening on the amount of effort and just time that he puts into this to do the show, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. I appreciate you, man. So, guys, until next time, my name is Craig Prowse. That is Gino. Cheers. Yes, what were some other 2-player games you remember? Because I remember, like, Toe Jam and Earl, even though we didn't really play, was it Planet on Funkatron or Escape from Funkatron?
Well, there was interesting because they had 2 different versions they had 2 different Toe Jam and Earl. One was the one that we played with the planet and the presents, and one of them was like a running.
Yeah, but that wasn't that one in number. Wasn't that 1 and 2? That was actually like a sequel, I think.
I think it was.
And it was cool because it was the first time you could actually split and actually go do your own thing, and I remember that was really cool.
Yeah,
the elevators.
Yeah, all the different presents and prizes. The ones that I also really liked was Beavis and Butthead, because we had Sega and Super, and it was 2 different versions of the game. So I liked. It was like Aladdin. It was just interesting. You had 2.
Well, because Sega was the one you went and pushed in the like the phone booth, and Super was the one where you ran across like the gate and all that shit. It was more kind of like the platformer one, but that one was like you had to get the Guar tickets.
Guar.
That was good. What else? I remember Akari Warriors. I remember playing that one. And obviously we played Contra a lot. But that was shitty because that was one of the ones that were like, if the other player, kind of like Battletoad, if the other player wasn't as good, you guys would both die or something like that. Like the vertical levels were shitty because you could get hit. Yeah.
I like playing the Battletoad Double Dragon.
Ooh,
I remember that a lot. And then we always played Donkey Kong in a 2-player mode too. Even though it's a kind of a 1-player game with your buddy not tapping in until you got hit. But we always played it as 2-player. I mean, I don't think I beat it individually.
Oh yeah, DKC. I arguably the strongest trilogy, but yeah, I think we both like 3 the best. But I mean, there's a conversation we had that 2 or 1 could take that top spot. But
All the answers.
dude, we need to go back and play some of those, man. I have them all set up. We just need to have a day where we just break out the Super, break out the Sega, and just fucking jam through them.
Ham it out once a year.
You want to set it up? Hey, you know what? I'm gonna hold you to that.